Well, man, I'm looking forward to getting into the music. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. You too. Great to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we get into your new album, I want to begin with the first question I always start with, and it's COVID. 6 years ago, it was doing so much to change the world, musicians. How did you get through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you create and do things today?
Yeah. So I was finishing my jazz degree at the time, studying at Guildhall in London, and had all these kind of gigs lined up in various bands, and all of a sudden you couldn't do anything, right? So I kind of spent the whole time just practicing, really, just playing music for fun. A lot of studying music obviously involves doing things that maybe you wouldn't choose to do, which can be great, expose you to new things, and at other times it can be a little bit, you just have to get through it and play this music, learn this music, and move on. But it was a really good time for me to just explore stuff, and I went back up home to my parents in Sunderland, in northeast England, and while I was there, I just started to get back into the kind of folk music from that area, from Northumberland in general, which has a kind of particular character, I suppose. And through that, I ended up, well, just playing a lot of this music just on my own, coming up with strange kind of bass guitar arrangements, just because I liked the melodies of these tunes, really strong melodies that have stood the test of time, right? Um, yeah, that's kind of what started this whole kind of folk influenced thing that ended up becoming this album.
So it's your debut, it's a big deal. Talk to me a little bit about what your vision was when you were going into this. You had mentioned the folk elements, but overall, what was, I mean, your first album's a big deal. It's kind of your cement in the floor, so to speak. What were you thinking? What was your thought going into this album?
Uh, to be honest, I wasn't really thinking of it as a big deal in a way. I kind of just wanted to get some of these tunes down with my friends that I was playing with. Um, we'd started to kind of play more regular gigs. We've been doing a lot of stuff as a trio without drums, which is half the album still. Um, Kind of on and off for maybe a year or two. No, but maybe 2 or 3 years at that point. And I just kind of wanted to get it down. Um, and we started playing more gigs at that time, and I'd really felt that we as a group had kind of found a bit of a sound together. Whereas previous to that, people overthink things a little bit, maybe myself certainly included. Should I be playing in this way? Should I be playing in that way? What is the sound that we want to achieve? We didn't really know. And the more that we just did it, the more we just started to gel. And it felt like, yeah, this is the right time to just get a snapshot of what it is in this moment. Maybe next week it'll sound totally different.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's just get it down at this time.
It's a little bit like sport, like we were talking about before we came on with the World Cup.
Yeah,
There's a level of emotive and the backbone of all of it's improv. So you got to just go with it.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
So what are you hoping the listener gets from this album?
Well, uh, I hope that they will enjoy the kind of the Northumbrian folk stuff in there. So we have versions of three Northumbrian folk tunes, and one of them bookends the record as well. So I hope that being exposed to some of that is somewhat enlightening, or at least just enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I hope that it is. It's not a totally new sound, but I think it's something that's not always done in jazz. The improvisation in it is very much kind of collective, and it's coming at it from the standpoint of the composition being almost more important than the improvisation around it, I suppose. Um, Taking a lot of influence from the kind of Scandinavian jazz world that I really like.
So I'm curious, I always ask musicians in America, kind of what their take on what's going on right now. There's a lot of stress coming out of America between immigration and war and things that we all know are happening. I'm curious how much what's your perception over there in England of what's happening over here? When you see the news, when you see the constant cycle of noise, what is your perception of what we're doing over here?
Um, in some ways, it's kind of reassuring because I think it makes us feel a little bit better about ourselves and our own problems, maybe. Um, because in the US, I feel like it's a lot more sort of obvious or on the nose, perhaps. The way that certain things are said and done is a little bit more, perhaps, sort of obvious or blatant. We definitely have our own problems, but I think we are slightly better at hiding them sometimes. Um, yeah, I will be interested to see where things go over the next few years. There's definitely a huge leap towards um, authoritarianism everywhere at the minute. Um, and I don't know if that is a jump that then we'll come back from, or if we're going to continue to go in that direction. Um, it will certainly be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are hoping not. Hopefully this is just
Yes.
a template of what we don't want to ever recreate. But I think for artists and musicians, the idea of giving music to people, recordings or live music, is really giving people an oasis, a level of comfort to kind of get away from the headlines. Is that more in your mind now than it has been before?
Yeah, I do think so, especially with improvised music and this collective approach to stuff, as opposed to it being more dictated, like in certain pop contexts, perhaps. Um, I think that there's more room for that maybe now in people's lives than there has been. Um, it's quite sort of encouraging, to hear music like that, that art that is made collectively, as opposed to kind of a top-down thing. So almost a sort of protest against the rise in authoritarianism, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go back to your beginnings. How did the bass, how did jazz, how did this music career happen? Was it always a foregone conclusion that this was going to become your existence? Uh,
Certainly not. Um, I started playing piano. I was trying to transcribe the Star Wars themes as a kid that I loved. I'm one of those, little kind of maybe 2 octave Casio keyboards
yeah,
with the fireworks sounds and whatever else.
yeah.
Um, and then I really wanted to play sax. Loved the sound of it, and had very supportive parents that were said, go for it. If it's something you want to do, um, then go ahead and play. And I think they enjoyed, having some music in the house. My mum plays some violin as well, so I think for her, she really enjoyed that. And then I got into bass guitar first, partly as a way to play with other people. So in my school, there were some there were a couple of bands in the years above me, uh, but everyone played guitar and drums. People sang. I couldn't really do any of that at this point. Nobody really wanted keyboard or sax, so I kind of needed a way in if I wanted to play with people and make some music. And I always loved hearing bass lines. It was always the thing that I remembered. It was always the thing that I'd be singing along to tunes. Um, love, I always loved music with good bass lines. So I kind of got into it through that, and it really, I think, having the grounding in music already through piano and sax over a few years, um, really helped me to just not worry about it. And as long as I had a little bit of technique, then the rest of it was kind of easy. And then from there, shifted somewhat onto double bass, especially during the pandemic time as well. Still play a lot of bass guitar, but roughly sort of half and half between the two.
Yeah. So who were influences? Who were you listening to? Who was kind of getting into your ear that would influence the way that you would approach your sound?
Good question. Started with, classic bass players, obviously, Jacko stuff. Oh, wow, it's amazing. Want to be able to do that. And Jameson, just, the most kind of outrageous but somehow understated um, bass lines that you've ever heard. And just giving stuff so much groove through that and an amazing feeling. Um, and as I got more into playing double bass, I'd be kind of trying to play in similar ways almost. Um, Try and find ways around changes and things that would be influenced by those guys and that kind of playing. Um, and as I got more into this folk stuff from Northumbria, I was also really into this. Starting to get into Scandi jazz. So players like Harold Anderson, like the sound that he makes is just so. He's so melodic and so precise and just gorgeous. And there's the stuff that he writes. Thomas Markison, Anders Jormin, all these guys. Just like I love all the stuff that they're involved with, as well as the music that they are, taking more of a leading role in. I think it's just beautiful melodies, and then figuring out a way around, figuring out the best way to support them. I think that's what's always interested me.
So what was the first live show, jazz or otherwise, that you saw that completely blew you away, that made an indelible impact on you and the way you would see live music?
Funnily enough, the first jazz gig I think I went to was David Sanborn,
Yeah.
which I think maybe these days I wouldn't have necessarily had the same takeaways from, but just seeing people perform in an unapologetic way, really just this is my sound. Here you go. I'm just here to have fun as well. Looked like everyone was just having a great time on stage. There was no worry about sort of messing anything up or doing something wrong. Everyone was just playing and having a great time. And yeah, as I say, maybe now I wouldn't have loved it to quite the same extent. Having, I suppose, got to understand the stuff that I enjoy more. Um, but yeah, I still remember that gig. I absolutely adored it.
Yeah. So, when you finally decided that you were going to go after it and become a musician professionally, and this was going to be your life, what's been the difference between the dream and the idea of what you thought this life as a musician was going to be like and actually living that life? What's that space in between?
um, I knew that it wouldn't be particularly easy. You know, I knew that there was less money in music, um, with my generation as opposed to before, and increasingly less perhaps. I suppose at the time that I was starting to really play and to take it more seriously, I was aware of streaming as a thing, but I didn't really expect it to kind of take off in the way that it did. I wasn't really thinking about it. I wasn't really thinking enough perhaps about the practicalities of being a career musician. It was just something that I wanted to do, and I thought, as long as I really want to do this, I'll find a way to figure it out. And that's kind of always been my approach since. I think the amount of sort of life admin and logistics and trying to figure out, okay, can I make it from this rehearsal to this gig and then this thing the next day and then still make it to teach someone the next, figuring out those things is something I had not anticipated.
Yeah. So, what do you like the best about being a professional musician? What gets you up every day? What motivates you to evolve and to love this work?
Playing with other people, for
Yeah.
sure. It's just the best feeling in the world. So much adrenaline and uh, the connections that you make with people are just there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to change it for the world.
So why do you love this art form we call jazz?
I think freedom to express yourself. And as much as I enjoy doing that myself in my own playing, I think actually I enjoy interacting with other people who are doing the same thing. So hence playing with people. If I'm playing this music, my own music or anyone else's, I'll still be inevitably putting my own stamp on something. And I can choose to push the music in any direction that I want, depending on how I'm feeling or what I think might be fun or how I think other people might react in the band. And they can do the same thing, and we're just kind of playing together, if playing in a a childlike sense. Um, it's just fun, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. The one thing that I try to do on my show is to show the bridge between this old world of jazz and what's going on today. I think sometimes there's a mentality in jazz where they get stuck in a time period, maybe in that 40s to 60s realm, but there's so much good modern jazz. There's so much evolution that's gone on in this art form. What do you think Miles Davis would think if he came back? What do you think his take, or and any elder, even Charles Mingus, what do you think they
Yeah.
would think about the evolution of this? I mean, you're putting elements of folk. There's people that have put electronica. There's all these different elements that continue to become a part of this evolving art form. What do you think the elders would think that's going on right now if they just put like 10 CDs in front of them that are modern, yours on top, and what would they say?
That's a great question. I think there's some stuff that they would love that maybe has more elements of the stuff that they were playing, and probably some stuff they would have other strong opinions about that were a bit more negative. I feel like those guys in particular, the Miles and Mingus, seem to have quite strong opinions on the things that they liked, and were perhaps not the easiest guys to get along with if you were to disagree with them. Um, but then there are perhaps some more open-minded greats that would be up for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've not really thought too much about that before.
Yeah.
Um, uh, if only there was a way.
Yeah, if only there was a way. Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you could get, you mentioned some pretty legendary historic people that were influential on you early on, from Jocko all the way down the line. If you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see one concert, one jazz show, where are you going to go? Who are you going to see?
I think it has to be Miles 1964, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be. It's just incredible. The energy from everyone is so you can. It feels like you're there when you hear it, and that's just the recording.
Yeah.
I want to hear it in the flesh.
Yeah, for sure. So everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, fans, everyone on the bandstand, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm just part of the band, man. I'm not anyone. Yeah. I'm just the bass player.
Yeah. I dig it. You're the rhythm. So, if anyone wants to pick up an actual copy of the album, are you on Bandcamp? Where's the best place to download or get a copy?
Yeah, yeah. On Bandcamp, that's the easiest place to get it from. It's in a few record shops as well. I don't know how many in the US, but certainly in Europe.
So, do you do anything big on release day?
I played a few shows around that weekend. So we did a short tour just in the UK. Played a show in London and one in Luton near London, a nice jazz club called the Bear Club, and then a little homecoming stretch. So the day after it came out, played in my home city of Sunderland, which was very nice. There aren't very many jazz gigs that have taken place there
Yeah.
ever, really. I didn't see any jazz gigs there growing up. It was always in a larger city nearby, so it felt really special to go and do that.
I'm just waiting for one musician to say they treated it like the end of like the World Cup or the World Series, and they put plastic all over their apartment. Everybody had goggles. Anybody that came in got a bottle of champagne, and they just went crazy, and their CDs flying. That's it would be fun.
Album two.
There you go. That's it. I love it. So, live shows, anything else going on in your world? Where can people go?
So at the minute, we've our next confirmed one is in mid-August, the 14th of August, in the Lake District, which will be
Okay.
very beautiful in Ambleside, right out in the countryside. And we're looking to get some stuff in Europe next year as well,
Okay.
and there'll be more coming up inland for
I
sure.
love it. Well, I will make sure to put all these links in the show notes. This has been wonderful, man. Great to meet you. Thank you for your music. Thank you for your time today. It's been great.
Thank you.
You bet.
Neon Jazz.